My name's Eli Delaney, and I have the honor of meeting some pretty cool people. These are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creatives, the game changers that are making a positive impact in the people that they meet. And I'm a firm believer that the people that you meet can get you anywhere you want to go. And this show is my way of sharing them with you. It's my way of also helping you meet cool people. All right, welcome back to another Meet Cool People show. Eli here, and today's guest is somebody I've gotten to know much better in just the more recent couple of months, but I've known her for probably about 6 months here in the DWF area. This is Jessica Gruber, and she is the creative strategist and founder for Buzzworks Creations, an international website design agency. Another one of my people that started with web design, which is a lot of fun. She has over 10 years, for over 10 years, she has excelled at translating business strategies into user-friendly website experiences and effectively conveying their values, missions, and services to everyday business conversations. She established her business to have the freedom and flexibility to grow her family while staying on top of her creative game. With that said, Jessica, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Eli, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. Having a fun day. Looking forward to this. This is going to be a good one.
I know the sun is out here in Dallas, Fort Worth, so it's always a good day.
It is. I am enjoying that it's finally warming up a little bit, but I'm just like, okay, it should be warmer than this. But the way my house sits, it's great in the summer because I get like, it's lots of shade the way the sun doesn't come in too much. But in the wintertime, like right now where it's sunny, I'm not enjoying it very much. I'm going to have to go outside later this afternoon. So as we get started here, as a fellow, like I'm a former web geek. I started my company back in 95, 96 in the web design agency world, and I got out of it. I would love to hear, how did you fall into the web design arena?
Well, I didn't ask for it. So I used to work for ad agencies around the Dallas Fort Worth area, and I ended up at a smaller one. And at the time, they were going through the merge, and the developer decided not to stay. And we had a project deadline, and it was 2 weeks away. And they come to me, and I knew how basic HTML. Um, and they come to me and they're like, "Hey, Jessica, we have to launch this project in 2 weeks. You want to learn how to build a website?" And I was kind of like, "Do I have a choice?" So that's where I kind of got started. I'm traditionally a print and creative art direction designer. That's what I went to school for, but then switched over to the digital side of things at that point.
Nice. Very cool. And you have a motto with your stuff, sticky sweet websites. I love that.
Yes. So
Very
I
cool.
my first business was actually um, beekeeping with my sister when we were young. My father was an ag.
Okay.
And so that's where the super sticky sweet comes from. It's Buzzworks. It's all beehive theme, creating your beehive around your website. But that goes back to my roots of growing up, and that was my first business as a child.
That is awesome. I love that. That was part. I know the name that grabbed my attention. I thought that was cool. I didn't actually know the background story behind it. That is even better. Very cool. So when I want to give some actionable stuff in a couple of minutes of like what are some of the things that make a great website and what is it that really does that. But when a client comes to you, where are they usually in their journey? Is it somebody who's been established for a while? They've got a website. They're just starting out. Where does that look for you?
Usually, I'm working with clients that are in their second stage of business. So they've created a viable product. They know their sales system, they know their processes, and now they realize they looked back at their website and they're like, "Oh crap, that does not match what I'm doing out here in the world." And so then that's when they come to me and are like, "Hey, we need to get this up tip top shape so it's reflecting the message that I'm putting out into the world." And that's where we work with them. It doesn't mean I don't take startups, but startups are usually still trying to figure out where they want to be.
Mhm.
Um, and usually when startups come to me, they're like, a website is going to be the thing that makes me, that makes my business run. And you're like, no, you got to make your business run. And so usually the startups I'll tell, go sell something first and then come back to me. Um,
Mhm.
because a website is just what you do, who you are. But if you can't provide that service, if you don't have that background, that plan, the business strategy behind it, a website's not going to help you go that direction.
Right. I love that. And, one of the things, like, I mean, I was reading this in your bio was you talk about helping them convey their values, their missions, the services into business conversations. And I'd love for you to touch a little bit about that because I think that's one of the things that entrepreneurs starting their website, they think I have to have a website. At least this is my experience. Because again, I built a lot of websites in the past. I got to have a website because it's going to make my business grow. But they don't realize the critical components that go into it that make that website actually beneficial and useful for them. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the first thing you want on your website is your UVP, your unique value proposition, and that should be 10 words. Um, as a headline on your website. And when they land there, they should know exactly what you do, who you serve, and how you're going to solve their problem. You have probably about 5 seconds to keep them on your website. So you want to be sure that you are solving your problem. People go to websites to either get a problem solved or to learn how to solve a problem. And that's where your blog comes in later in. But for people that are looking to solve the problem, you need to first put your UVP, what you do, how you're going to solve their problem, and then break it down into the benefits of working with you. And when I work with clients, I tell them all we're doing is we're taking your top sales conversations and we're turning them into a website experience. Because if you take those conversations, that's what your ideal client wants to hear and to convey to the world.
I love that. I love that you just brought in a couple of really important factors with that. Number one is um, how do you solve their problems? Most of the time, so many people I've seen, and even nowadays, I see so many websites that's very me focused. It's all about me and how amazing I am, as opposed to how I solve your problems. And I think that's one thing that even this should happen in all marketing. It should be in your conversations with what's on your website, what's on your blogs, videos that you're doing on YouTube, posts on social media, any of that kind of stuff. It should be all based around the problems that you solve first. And I love that you brought up that your website should also have your top sales conversations because that's a piece that people I don't really think about. Let's expand on that a little bit.
Well, I mean, it goes into putting your objections on your website. No one wants to put people's objections on their website. That's like the reason why they don't want to talk to us. But if you can validate why you do want to work with you and get you past that objection before they even call, that conversation is just going to be so much stronger once they do convert and get on a call with you. And it's really simple. All you do is you take those objections and then you turn them into an FAQ. We always have FAQs on our website because that's what they're okay. We know they can solve our problem. We like them. We trust them. Here are my objections. And that's all a flow in the website. Let's answer those objections for them now.
I love it. Awesome. Now, one of the questions I've got for you, because I know you've grown to the point where you've got a pretty good sized team that's working with you now. Where what's it been like going from starting out on your own to growing a team? Because I think that's one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs, no matter what industry they're in, suffer from is figuring that out.
So during the intro, you said part of mine is I built this business to be able to raise my family. And which essentially I did. So when I first started, I was doing design, I was doing development, I was doing launch, I was doing the sales, I was doing everything. And as soon as I had that first baby, I said, oh, I cannot do all of this. And that's when I started to realize that I had to start giving parts out. My least favorite and the first part to go was bookkeeping. That was the first thing that went. I know a lot of entrepreneurs don't like the bookkeeping side. So get rid of it, push it out of the way, spend your time that in places that are your zone. The next portion was what is the most time consuming for me? And that was the development of the website. So that was when I started working and finding developers that could be added to our team. My developer now, we've been working together for 3 to 4 years. He's amazing. We understand each other, we communicate. So it does take time to find that right person to work with you. Same with our designer. Our designer, we've been working with probably about 2 to 3 years now. And we all know each other. We're all remote, but we all know that we have family. We know when our kids get sick. So it's very much building a community within your business and knowing what each other's goals are to help push each other as you grow your business.
Yeah, I love that. And it's, it is really funny. And I'm going to ask you this one in just a second. Is like for me, when I started growing that business originally, and even now, I still suffer from the design stuff. It's been long enough now that like when I've got design stuff, I'm like, you know what? No, my guys are going to take care of it. I'm not even going to mess with it. I don't even have a copy of Photoshop anymore. Like, I mean, back in the day, I was the designer. I like to tinker with that stuff.
I have not ripped off the Band-Aid yet and discontinued my Adobe subscription.
But reality is that you also have to play into what do you enjoy as well. Now, there's a point where as the founder, as the CEO, whatever role you want to play, as you grow the business, there's a certain amount. It's like, okay, I can't be doing all this because it's not the best use of my time. But there's a certain point where you should still be able to do what you enjoy doing and go like, all right, well, this particular project, I think I want to still play with. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I like the concept and strategy. Like even if I go into branding and logos,
Mm-hmm.
my least favorite thing is to sit at a computer and actually do the design layout
Okay.
and sit there all day because I'm one of those meticulous people that will just sit there and 3 hours went by and I got nothing done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so what I will do is I will draw out the logos and I will draw out the concepts and the strategies, and then I send them to a production artist. And I'm like, here, go create these in um, on the computer for me. And then
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten 5, 10 hours back that I would have been spending
Right.
in Illustrator trying to draw these logos.
Yeah. No, totally get that. And it's kind of cool because it does give you a unique perspective. Like for me, when I was in the design world, I also knew how to code. So I like to say that I was like that 60-40, 60% creative, 40% developer. And so it was really great because that gave me the ability to communicate, because I'm sure you know that not always do coders make things that are really functional. Designers make things are really pretty, but they don't really do anything. And then coders make them functional, but they're ugly as sin. And so you got to have a way to communicate the two together to make that work. And I was lucky with that because I had a bit of both in me to be able to do the translation with people. How did you get through that process with your designers and your coders?
Well, I'm kind of the same way.
Okay.
And it's a unique position, especially if you were in like the early 2000s.
Hmm.
And no one really understood web design still.
Yeah.
I mean, it was around, but they still didn't understand it. And so I would walk into these agencies that had overflow work. I'd come in and say, okay, this is the process, how we're building a website. I'd be able to talk to their team. And I would not walk out. I maybe walked out of one agency without an offer to come work full time because it was such a unique ability to talk
Mhm.
in between the different teams and the different things that have to go on within a website, because websites aren't just technical. There's design, there's marketing, there's SEO, there's so many facets within
Mhm.
a website to make it run.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And that is one of the things that a lot of times nowadays, so much of it has gotten easier for people because we have like WordPress, there's bazillions and templates and all that kind of stuff. We have Canva that helps with a lot of design. So it makes it easier for people to kind of understand. They don't have to think so hard with it. But when it really comes down to not just getting something up there, but getting something that's really good and thought out. And you talked about like the creative strategy. Most people don't have that piece. And that's where someone like you really comes into play, because when you're ready to take up that next level, that's how I see it, is like, okay, you've been, playing around with the software, you got your theme off of Theme Forest, and you got your website. But when you're ready to actually join the big leagues, it's a different game. And there's a lot of other things that people just don't even think about. When you're talking to clients, how do you educate them of those components that they probably aren't even really aware of?
It starts really in the sales process. They're like, okay, how does this work? And there's probably about 6 steps that we take them through. And I said, at each step, you're going to be approving these. But the first and most important step is doing a discovery session with them. And that's where we're pulling the information. I don't know how many times I've walked into a business and I just say, okay, what's your mission statement? And they just kind of stare at me. I'm like, okay, let's ask these questions and then we're going to build a mission statement. So it's defining those qualities within your business, and it's things that people have never really stopped and asked themselves. They had a product, it worked, and so they moved forward, they built their business, it grew, but they never really sat down and asked these core questions. So we go in and we ask these questions, and that discovery session actually follows all the way up until about the development portion of the website. And so every team member, so our copywriters, our wireframes, UX designers, they're all listening to this discovery session or reading it. We'll get it transcribed, so they can really hone in on who the business is and how they operate to create that top experience.
Nice. I love that. And you are, it's cool you're bringing in the team to see all of that stuff and listen to the audio, or read through the transcription, because I think that's a lot of things. A lot of people miss that concept. The idea of making sure the team is that involved, as opposed to just saying, okay, now here's the project, go do it. It's like, no, you need to know the client as well, which I think is a nice way to do it that a lot of people don't. So let's look into a little bit of a teaching moment here. If somebody's got their website and they've been doing their thing, they're getting ready to go into phase two. They might be looking at talking to somebody like you. What are some of the top things that they should be looking at that are probably things they're already making mistakes on the website right now, that would be the easiest things to fix right out of the gate for them?
Easiest thing is your call to action button, and that is your top right hand corner. You want to have like a contact us, schedule an appointment, something up there. But you not only have it, but you have it highlighted in a different color. It's kind of like a, hey, click me, I'm a button over here. Come schedule an appointment. So that is probably the top thing, because people don't know that they can break that out of their main navigation and highlight that as, hey, this is the next action. This is the next step we want you to take to get in touch with us. For some, it's not necessarily the contact us button. If you go into nonprofits, it's the donate button. People want you to donate. You want to be able to easily find that donation button. Within businesses, it's sometimes schedule an appointment. And then below that, then we're going to have a call to action of maybe a lead magnet, or schedule an appointment, something to get them into the door that makes them feel comfortable with you. We were talking about templates and themes earlier. They're getting better, but a lot of templates and themes, they're usually crammed with information that you can't find. They give you every widget, gadget, anything you need on it, and it doesn't make sense, or they give you too little and they leave a strong call to action out. So it's finding the balance of giving them the information they need to make that next move, and then asking them to move.
Nice. Yeah. And I come from more direct response. So that's like, everything is about the call to action. What are we having them do? What's the path we want to take them on? And a lot of times, especially when it comes to like the corporate world, like brick and mortar businesses still have a hard time understanding that. I've seen, I think they're getting better at it. They do have their lead magnets and stuff, but it's still, a lot of people still aren't quite fully getting the idea of the call to action.
Yeah. If you go into the B2C world, they're actually usually a little bit better than the B2B.
Really?
B2B usually has their sales team set up. So it isn't as, I'm not going to say it isn't as important, but it isn't as forefront.
Mm,
Um, in their sales process. So
right.
if you can go in to those B2B businesses and say, hey, add a call to action here, add this here, and let's see how it improves the website experience, then you're just going to be able to push more lead generation to your sales team if you take that
Nice.
action.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to start wrapping things up here. So I'm going to have three final questions for you. The third one is, if somebody is, they got their website, they're really not sure what's working or not. And you kind of answered a little bit of this, but what would be the one thing that somebody should go take action on today that they could just like, okay, other than the button, because we talked about that, but
Okay.
like one thing, it's like, what is the one thing they should like, I need to go fix this one thing, or go look at my website, I'm missing this one thing. What would that one thing be that they can fix themselves?
The next thing would be your UVP, your unique
Okay.
value proposition. Do
Okay.
you have those 10 words to tell people what you do, how you do it, and how you solve their problem?
That's what I
Uh,
was going for.
You have one, you can flip them back and forth, but
Awesome.
um, yeah. But the unique value proposition, that is what's going to make people stick to your website if they're landing on your homepage.
Nice. I love it. Okay. So, next question. This is the Meet Cool People show. So, what does meeting cool people mean to you?
Meeting cool people. So, meeting cool is just finding people. Um, we didn't really talk about this, but I'm part of Success Champions. I train leaders around the nation on how to build their networking groups. This is something I did not expect to land into. I've been doing it for about 8 months now, but it's really cool to see people find the business relationships that either educate them on building their business or put them in a partnership to grow their business or some aspect of hey, let's give you a kick in the ass because you need to get that kick in the ass to grow your business. There's those people too. It's those type of people that you run around with that are there for you, and even when you fall, they're there to dust you off, pick you up, push you again. um, but that's what meeting cool people is to me.
Awesome. I love it. And that is, we didn't actually talk about this. That is how you and I met, was from Donnie with Success Champions. And that was it's been a fun ride. I've been with the group for about what, 6 months now, something like that. Um, it's gotten me to do local networking again, which I haven't done for probably 10 years. So that's been fun. And we keep finding really cool places to go hang out, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
that secretly, that's what I like most is people just say, "Hey, show up here." I'm like, "Oh, this is a new spot. I've never
I
been."
know. Yeah, it was like we got the truck yard, which was cool. The barbecue place this last week. We got some fun ones that we've been playing with, which is good. Okay, so the last question: people are going to need a website. They might be at that point. So, what's the easiest way for them to get a hold of you?
So I play mostly in LinkedIn. So if you guys want to go to my LinkedIn profile, you can message me through there. But there is also always my website, and I have my calendar on there, so you can just directly book a time with me, and we will set that up and start chatting.
Awesome. You want to go ahead and give out your website?
That would be something good. Uh, my website is buzzbuzzwks.com.
Nice. Awesome. All right, and we will put it in the show notes as well. But I wanted to make sure that you got that. Anybody listening, this has been fun. Lots of. I knew this was going to be a good conversation. We've talked several times, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's time to bring her on board. Let's have a cool conversation. So, Jessica, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today.
Yeah, thanks. It's been an awesome time. And you guys, if you like this show, subscribe to his podcast, get more of this, and meet more cool people. So,
That's the way it works. All right, everybody, get out there. Have an amazing week. If there's anything I can do to help you out, you know how to get a hold of me. Reach out. Let me know. Take care. And that wraps up another Meet Cool People show. Now, if you like what you heard, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or review so I can help introduce these amazing cool people to even more amazing cool people. And just remember, meeting cool people is just the beginning. You need to have a system in place to follow up with the amazing people that you meet. This is exactly what we do for our clients. If you'd like to see if my team and I can help you, go to followuprockstar.com and check out the case study video to see exactly how we're helping our clients turn casual connections into cash clients for life. Again, go to followuprockstar.com and we'll see how we can work together to turn you into a follow-up rockstar.